Mr. Ismail, you mentioned the names of John Hicks and Albert Schweitzer. Both of them are theologians who deny the possibility of God becoming a man. Now, if God is omnipotent, can he become a man? Can he enter time and space? I think that we all agree that, as Muslims and Christians, that if God is omnipotent, then he can do all things. So, I think we should turn the question around and say, if God can become a man, why did he become a man? And then, so that's my question to you. Can God enter time and space?
It's an interesting question which you raised, but it's something which troubled a Jewish philosopher called Baruch Spinoza in the 16th century when he raised the question, what do you mean when God came down to earth as a man? You see, if you believe that God is omnipotent, which we all believe, which means he can do everything, but does that mean now that he does foolish things, he does silly things, he does weak things? Can the vast ocean be contained in a drop of water? That's a question one has to ask. Is that it's something which the church has been battling for centuries when they say that God came down to the earth as a man. Was it that God somehow or the other came down to earth as a man, but somehow or the other he was still God, or did it mean that God somehow or the other transmuted his divine powers, came down to earth as a man, which means there is no God anymore, but somehow he can come back and become God again, because the human being by its definition has certain limitations. God doesn't have limitations. He doesn't have limitations. So it is contrary to human understanding to believe that something which is unlimited can retrogress or diminish to something which is limited. It doesn't make sense. You see, if you have an actual a square, a square, clay of square, a ball of square, which is clay, plasticine, and I shape the corners and I roll it and I make it into a ball, it no longer remains a square. It becomes a round ball. So the shape basically alters. So if God comes down to earth as a man, was he then subject to the same temptations that man has? Does he have thirst? Does he feel weak? Does he sleep? Is he subject to sensual desires? When he sees a woman, his own creation, somehow or the other, he's physically attracted. So it creates fundamental problems. When you say God is omnipotent, yes, he's omnipotent, but by the very nature of his omnipotence, he cannot become limited. And it goes back to the original contention, which states that the vast ocean by its very nature, by its very definition, cannot be contained in a single drop of water. From the perspective of Jesus himself, why does he go again and again to elaborate the fact that he's subordinate to someone superior to him? If Jesus is God, why is it that he doesn't have knowledge of the hereafter? When Peter or someone came to him and asked him, when is the last day, when is the day of judgment? And he says, the angels don't know, the Son, meaning himself, I don't know, but the only one who knows is my Father in heaven. So if all of them now are one, then it stands to reason that how is it possible that the Father, God Almighty, would know, the Son, who is also God, doesn't know? Because according to the doctrinal belief, they are co-substantial, they are co-eternal. So they have to be co-knowing, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-doing. And so man by the nature has certain limitations. God by his very nature has certain limitations. He doesn't do foolish things, he doesn't do weak things, he doesn't do silly things. Hope that answers the question. Thank you.
قل أغير الله أتخذ وليا فاطر السماوات والأرض وهو يطعم ولا يطعم قل إني أمرت أن أكون أول من أسلم ولا تكونن من المشركين.
Here we come, Allah, here we come to serve you, here we come, no partner do you have, all praise to you. The universe is yours, Here we come, Allah, here we come.